So, hello, and thank you that you had time for this interview. And just some short questions. You are having your video game live show soon in Austria. I think it will be the 22nd of March. And that's
hmm
why we wanted to ask a few questions and probably just to sum it up for people who don't know it. Could you just talk about what the video game live experience is all about?
Sure. So, Video Games Live is all of the greatest video game music of all time, played by a full symphony and choir. But what makes it really special and unique is that everything is completely synchronized to massive video screens and rock and roll lighting and special effects and a stage show production and interactive elements with the crowd. So I kind of like to describe it as having all of the power and emotion of a symphony orchestra, but combined with the energy and excitement of a rock concert, mixed together with all the cutting edge visuals and interactivity and technology and fun that video games provide. I mean, I want the show to be fun. It's not your traditional, symphony show. This is, we like to have fun on stage. We joke around. There's a lot of jokes. There's a lot of, we encourage the audience to cheer and clap whenever they want. We don't want people to just, shh, be there, be quiet. The symphony's about to play. I've been a video game composer for over 25 years. And so my goal when creating this show was I wanted to prove to the world how culturally significant and artistic video games have become, but I also wanted to help usher in a whole new generation of young people to appreciate the symphony and appreciate, orchestral music. Now, I know in Vienna that might not seem like a big deal because of the
Oh, it
amazing
is.
history of the city. So young people, I'm sure, go to the symphony there a lot. But
Uh,
not as much. No, they
no,
should. Oh my
I
gosh,
wouldn't
I'm
be
there
sure
every
about
day if I
that.
lived in Vienna. But in around the world, it's no young people ever go. So
Yeah.
so and for me personally, my greatest musical hero is Beethoven. And so my entire life, even though Beethoven was born in Bonn, Germany, but his professional career was in Vienna,
Mhm.
and so my whole life I've always wanted to go. I've been all over the world. I've toured all over the world, and there's been times where I could have went to Vienna, and I'm like, no, I don't want to go to Vienna. I want it to be special, and I want to be there. I want to go to Vienna for the first time when I can perform in Vienna with a symphony.
Mhm.
That's always been my literally like one of my lifelong dreams.
Oh,
And
cool.
so on March 22nd, one of my childhood dreams is going to come true because of the rich history and symphonic music there. So I you probably think I say this to every interview,
No,
but I really don't.
we're special. Ah, now you're there again. Oh, lag. Ah, everybody hates lag.
Right?
Oh, yeah. So that would have been one of my questions if you have been to Vienna before, but you will love it. I think really
Yeah,
that
well,
you will
I
really like it.
told my agents too. I told my agents, I said, don't book any shows after Vienna. So once I do the show in Vienna, I have like 3 days off because I
Oh,
want to,
that's cool.
see the whole city and everything.
Hmm.
So looking forward to that.
You will really like it. I'm a little bit afraid that March won't be too warm, so probably you will have to
That's
take a
okay.
jacket, but yeah, it's pretty
Well,
nice.
we'll have to warm all the hearts of everyone there, so that will be okay.
Yeah, and it will be great. I mean, especially because you pointed out that you want to bring the symphonies closer to the young people and just the people who are into video games. And I think you really did that because I have a lot of friends who are usually not listening to Beethoven and people like that. But as soon as really great video game soundtracks came out, they weren't listening to anything else. And I mean, that's
Oh,
the
that's
music
great.
that you really need. And so that's great. And just talking about that, I mean, you're just really known for bringing those live orchestras into your soundtracks. And besides Beethoven, who gave you the influences on your music? Is there someone else? Just
Yeah, I mean, I have a kind of a famous cousin
kind
who
of.
he's he's kind of a famous guy. And so growing up, listening to Aerosmith and seeing Steven Tyler perform on stage as a young child, I would always sit on the side of the stage and watch Cousin Steven performing. So for me, I never thought that was a crazy, impossible dream, right? Mm-hmm. So it was just like, oh, that's Cousin Steven's on stage performing in front of 30,000 people. Oh, he's having fun. That's what I want to be when I grow up. Like it never, it was never something that seemed impossible. It was like, oh, that's what I want to do. And so that influence of never being, afraid or never thinking it was difficult always had a big impact on me. Mm-hmm. And so I grew up kind of more of a rock and roll guy, Van Halen and Led Zeppelin and Aerosmith, the Police, those are some Pink Floyd. Those are some of my favorites growing up, the Eagles. And then when I was 10, Star Wars came out. I'm dating myself now, but that was 1977. And when I heard that symphonic music, that was the first time I really felt like attached and connected to like an orchestra. Like, oh my gosh, that was so amazing. And so I went down to the library because we didn't have the internet back then, and I read about this John Williams guy, and he would talk about Beethoven and Mozart, and so I would get an album from the library and I'd listen to this Beethoven guy, and when I heard Beethoven, that was really when my life changed. And to discover it on your own when you're 10 years old is something that's kind of special. It's very different than somebody forcing it down your throat or having to take piano lessons and listening. It was something that I kind of found on my own. And to me, Beethoven's the greatest composer that has ever lived. And it's funny, though, I remember when I first put the album and was listening to Beethoven, I'm like, hey, this is like, I've heard this music before in Bugs Bunny cartoons, So it was because of like pop culture, because of Warner Brothers cartoons and Star Wars that got me interested into classical music and interested into composing and so I'm seeing the same thing happen 30 years later with video games. When we play video games live, I'll always get letters from parents after the show saying, we went to your show and my 8-year-old daughter asked if she could start taking violin lessons so that she could learn the music to Kingdom Hearts or Zelda, So that same kind of inspiration is coming now from video games, because video games are just as important as film now, in regards to art and culture and things. So it's something that's really cool, and we hope to bring some of that love to Vienna for sure.
Oh, I think you totally will. Because we have a lot of people who are so into video games. And I mean, especially this interview, it is for a blog called Serial Killers. So just not serial, like,
Oh, it's like cereal, yeah.
So
that's great.
Cool down. And that's why there are a lot of people who are just so excited about video games live just in Vienna. And I mean, I wish I could go there, but I'm not in Vienna at the moment, so I can't. But as soon as you're in Ireland, I will go there.
Well, we're in Ireland a couple days later after that. We're in Ireland on April 4th.
Okay, I will be there. I will so be there.
Yeah, Dublin. We're playing Dublin on.
Oh, yeah, I expected that because, I mean, besides Dublin, you don't really have big halls to have such a nice thing in. But yeah, because you were talking about that you were, when you were little, that you were at concerts of your cousin and stuff. And when was that really that break point when your career started? Because you said you were just into that, you wanted to do that, but when were you actually able to really do it?
Yeah, so I grew up on the East Coast of the United States, and California is 3,000 miles away on the West Coast. California and Hollywood and Los Angeles. That's really kind of where the music and entertainment industry and film industry is. So when I turned 21, I got my car. I left my parents crying on the doorstep, and I went to California by myself. I had no job, no place to stay, no money, no friends. I was just by myself, and I drove all the way across country, and because I was fueled by this dream. And when I got to Hollywood, I was homeless. I was sleeping under a pier at the beach for the first month I was there. But the first day I got there, I opened a newspaper and I saw a job for selling keyboards and pianos at a guitar place. So I'm like, well, I can do that. So I went down there, and they said, great, you got the job, start tomorrow. So I had only brought like 3 T-shirts with me and a pair of jeans. And one of the T-shirts I had was for a Japanese video game system that hadn't even come out in America yet. And because I was huge, my 2 greatest loves growing up were always music and video games. And the way I got, and this is like back in the late 80s, no one had video game T-shirts back then. Now everybody has them, but back then they were very rare, and I had to like send away to get this shirt. It wasn't something I bought in a store or anything. And so I wore that shirt the first day at my job. So I was in California 2 days now. And the very first person who walked in the guitar shop that morning, the first person I waited on, literally the second person I ever spoke to in California, happened to be a producer for Richard Branson. And they were starting a Virgin video game company right down the street. And he saw my shirt. He's like, oh my gosh, you know about video games? Like what? I said, I know everything about video games. And he says, do you want a job? And I said, yeah, doing what? He's like, you play video games. Tell us what you think of them, and we'll pay you, $6 an hour. I'm like, oh my God. And so I was in California 3 days, and I was in the video game industry. That was over 25 years ago. And and I would bug the vice president of the company every day. I'm like, please, whenever you need music in a game, let me know. I'll do it for free. If you don't like it, you don't have to use it, but please give me the chance, give me the opportunity. So when the first opportunity came up, they were working on a game. It was the original Prince of Persia with Jordan Mechner. And so that was the first game I ever did music on, and it won a bunch of awards for music. And so they said, okay, we'll make you the music guy. So I stayed at Virgin for about 3.5 years, 4 years till 1994. And every company was calling me to try to get them to go work for them. And so I said, well, instead of leaving Virgin, why don't I just start my own company, and then I can work for all of them,
Oh yeah, brilliant.
I'll do contracts with everybody. So that's kind of how I all fell into it. Some call it luck. I call it fate.
Just a quick question. I don't know, but that pops just in my head. Did you ever do any kind of music for anything involving SpiderMan? Because I think I saw some kind of interview where you just have a huge SpiderMan room and just every single comic ever.
I sure do. Yeah. I worked on the SpiderMan game for the PlayStation. It's still noted as one of the best Spider-Man games ever in the history of video games. Yeah, on the PlayStation. It was amazing. It was the first 3D Spider-Man as well, and it was done by the guys Neversoft, who the year before I had done Tony Hawk Pro Skater with them, and so that was a huge success. But when they got the license to Spider-Man, they said, "Hey, look, would you rather work on, Tony Hawk 2 or Spider-Man?" And I said, Spider-Man. I don't care how big Tony Hawk is. I want Spider-Man. So yeah, that was a dream come true. I mean, all of my childhood things I've worked on at one point. SpiderMan's a huge one. James Bond was another one. So I worked on, one of the James Bond games. Pac-Man I've done. Sonic. So yeah, I've worked on so many of licenses that are near and dear to me. So I've been lucky like that.
That's great. And do you sometimes still have those moments where you don't really realize that you're just here where you are and just can do all the amazing stuff?
Yeah, for me, one of the things another thing that I've learned from my cousin Steven Tyler is, every day I wake up, I appreciate it, and like he does. I mean, he's been a rock star for 40 years, an international superstar for 40 years, and he's still grateful. He still, spends time to talk with fans. He wakes up every day like, it's never something that he takes for granted. I'll tell you a quick Steven Tyler story. Whenever I go see him, backstage, usually before the show, there's, they have like meet and greets with people, radio winners, contest winners, or the fan clubs and things like that. And I see him do this all the time. He walks into a room and he kind of looks around and everybody comes up to him. All the A personalities, come right up to him. Oh, Steven, I'm your greatest fan. Sign this. Can I take a picture? And he's always very kind and considerate to everyone. But then after a couple minutes, he'll go, hey, excuse me for 1 second. I'll be right back. And what he does is he looks around the room, and there's always 2 or 3 people who are just like in the corner, like terrified, like so like shy and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And he walks up to those people and he goes, "Hi, I'm Steven Tyler. What's your name?" So that's the kind of person that he is, and that's the kind of things that I've learned from him is mm-hmm. to he really appreciates it, and yeah, that's something. So yes, every day I have, to me, it's the dream job. I mean, I'm not saving lives. I'm not, I'm not doing anything like super important. But for me, I love video games and I love music and I love performing. So, wow, what these 3 perfect things, mm-hmm. Kind of manifested from my passion and love of that of those things. So I couldn't be happier.
Oh, that's brilliant. And when talking about video games, which consoles do you usually play with? So prefer, do you?
You're gonna get me in trouble now, huh? You're trying to get me in trouble.
Totally, I am. So you have 2.
I'll answer it. I don't care. You can ask me anything. Doesn't matter.
PlayStation 4 or Xbox One?
Well, neither of those, but I'm a big PlayStation fan, and mm-hmm. and to me, the PlayStation 3 is better than the PlayStation 4 as of right now. I still play my PlayStation 3 more than I do my PlayStation 4. But yes, I'm a fanboy of all the systems for different reasons, and I'm not just saying that because I don't want to piss anyone off. Like I can tell you right now, like Nintendo has majorly disappointed me. I do not like the Wii U. I didn't really like the Wii at all. I think there's another Mario Kart. Yay. Yeah. Oh, what are we going to get next? Mario Tennis and Mario. It's like, come on, give me something new. So I'm really disappointed in Nintendo the last couple of years. But for me, but I like the Xbox. I really liked Halo, that whole series. And I love their Xbox Live. I think that is like the best online system and community for console gaming. I think the Xbox Live, destroys the PlayStation in that regards. Mm. But for a gaming console, I'm PlayStation all the way, because my favorite games, and it's not that I'm biased, it's just that my favorite games, okay, Shadow of the Colossus, Eco, Uncharted, God of War. Well, those are only PlayStation exclusives, and even things like Metal Gear Solid and Tomb Raider, they kind of came out on Red Dead Redemption. They come out on PlayStation. Kind of sometimes they come out first, or it's a release. But those are So just gradually, I can't play Shadow of the Colossus on the Xbox. I can't play, God of War on the Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I'm going to say, Sony. But yeah, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I'm waiting for like something amazing,
Yeah.
and I don't feel like either console has delivered amazing yet. Hopefully we'll get it sometime this year and sometime this Christmas, now that we're kind of going into the third generation now. But there's nothing that's like blown me away. There's been cool things, but
Mm-hmm.
I still play my PlayStation 3 more than any system. And in fact, you know what? I also have I have all the systems like, attached, and I always gravitate towards PlayStation 3. The Last of Us, another great game, only on the PlayStation, right? So I'll be playing that. And the other system that I play more is my Intellivision from 1978. I still find, because gameplay is still king, no matter what. Graphics can get fancy and this and that, and that's fine, and sound, but gameplay is still the most important thing. And I still have just as much fun playing games that I did when I was a kid growing up, or old arcade games. I have a big arcade system in my house that has every single arcade game ever made, and I end up spending more hours playing old games from the 80s. Than I do, some of the new systems. So, I'm not too much of a PC gamer personally, although I love watching people play Warcraft and League of Legends and Dota. It's amazing to it's too intense for me, and I just don't have the time. I'm afraid of Warcraft because if I start playing it, like my life is gonna my work is gonna all of a sudden you're gonna see, how come there's only 4 shows of Video Games Live this year? Oh, because Tommy's level 80 now. I stay away. It's digital crack, and I want to stay far away. But I love the music and the cinematics and the stuff. Oh my God, Blizzard just is the greatest developer for me, and working with them, a lot with Video Games Live and stuff. They're by far my favorite developer ever that I've ever had the pleasure of working with. They're really incredible. They really understand, and it really is about the fans. Riot's great too. They really care about their fans as well.
That's true. And when you say you like watching people play PC games, do you have some favorite Let's Players that you just watch on whatever, YouTube or Twitch or somewhere?
I don't, on Twitch. No, I don't. No, I don't. Again, I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
So usually when I'm watching people play Warcraft, it's because I'm at Blizzard and they're showing me some new thing that they're working on. So I get to see it before everyone else. But but no, I don't sit around and watch other people play Warcraft. I don't have the time for it. Yeah.
And actually, what is the process when people tell you to write a soundtrack for that game? Do they just give you the game and be like, yeah, do awesome stuff, do music, or how does it
Pretty
work?
much, yeah. Yeah, no, that's it. I mean, sometimes they'll say, "Oh, can you, here's a drawing, a pencil drawing of the level or whatever," and that's always fun to kind of, start to think of stuff. But for me, I like to play the game. I want to feel the cadence of the, is the person walking? Are they running? Are they on a bike? Are they on a motorcycle? Are they on a car? It's, what's the speed and the cadence and the tempo? That's important to me when I play a game. I want to kind of match that to the music. So yeah, just I literally, the way I do it is I play the level and I just kind of start without any sound, and I just start waiting for stuff to come in my head, and then I just run over to the piano and try to figure out what I'm hearing in my head, and then I'll go upstairs in my studio and start to orchestrate it. Say, okay, the strings can do this, and the brass can do this, and the timpani and the percussion can do this, or the rock guitar can do this. So then I start to kind of build it from there. But I just wait for stuff to pop into my head. There's no I don't know. That's it. It just happens.
Yeah, and Do you do all that stuff on your own? For example, if you just have piano in there or guitar in there. I don't even know. I know that you play guitar and piano, but what else are you able to play?
Well, from musically, if you play
Mm-hmm.
the piano, you can pretty much play every instrument ever created because with synthesizers and samplers and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. So on my computer, all of the music is composed on a keyboard. So now I'm going to bring a violin sound, and you play it on the
Mm-hmm.
piano. So I studied all of the instruments in the orchestra and percussion and thing because you need to know, you don't want to just hit notes on the keyboard. You need to
Mm-hmm.
understand, okay, what's the limit of a symphony, of a violin? What's the lowest note where it sounds good? Because once the violin, then you got the viola underneath that, right? And then the cello, and then the basses. So you need to understand the ranges of each instrument, and how to bend into the notes. Bending a saxophone note is much different than a violin note. Um, you know, Understanding how a muted trumpet works, or an overblown brass instrument, is something that you need to understand how it, as a player, as opposed to just hitting a note on a keyboard. Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, but that's impossible for a real player to play. So studying the instrument. So I can't actually pick up a trumpet and play it, but I
Mm-hmm.
understand how it works, and I can mimic it on a synthesizer.
Yeah, that's awesome. Probably all you need because, I mean, you can see that it's awesome. The stuff you do is just really amazing. But I think you won a lot of awards for it, and you're even in the world records book. So I think that pretty much sums it up.
Thank you.
No, thank you. You're awesome. Sorry, I'm a bit fangirlish at the moment. Focus.
Uh,
Yeah, so actually, can you sing? Because I mean, you know all those notes. Are you able to sing if someone would just tell you, "Hey, you have to sing something now"?
uh, Not really. No, I'm not a great singer. I wish I could, but no. I know what I like singers. I can like produce singers, uh, but I just physically, I just
Yeah.
you really need to train for that. And again, I don't have the time. I mean, I can do some rock and roll stuff, and if you get me on a piano, I can start jamming out and start singing, Great Balls of Fire,
Mhm.
Jailhouse Rock, some of the old, 50s
Yeah.
classic stuff to have some fun with. But no, I'm by no means a good one.
Mhm.
I know my weaknesses. Very important to know what your weaknesses are. So
And the last question that I
I
have,
wish, I wish that part of the
the weaknesses.
Tellerico family, the Steven Tyler. I wish that part of the family had entered this DNA, but it did not.
Yeah, but still, it's awesome. I mean, it's your part. It's I think that's pretty much what you need. And so there's just one last question that's really important. If you have some people that are just trying to live the same dream that you do, what would you tell them on how to make their dreams come true of being a video game producer, a music producer?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things. So the first of all is there's a great website called gamasutra.com. That's a great place to go, and they have a whole like audio section, and that's for anyone who's interested in getting in any part of the video game industry, whether it's programming or art or design or production or whatever. That's a great website to go to. You also want to go to the Game Developers Conference, which happens in San Francisco, where all people from all over the world, all the developers from around the world come to do that. So that's another general thing for
Mhm.
anyone looking to get in the video game industry. Specifically for audio, though, I would recommend those two things: Game Developers Conference and Gamma Sutra. But also, there's a nonprofit organization called the Game Audio Network Guild, or GANG is the acronym. And the website is audiogang.org. It's a nonprofit. And that will give people tons of information. We have over 2,500 members from all over the world who, to deal with audio, like not only like music um, and sound design and voiceovers and implementation and technology and sound programming and all that. So it covers everything. And there's also some great books out there. One of the most popular books is called The Complete Guide to Game Audio, and that's something that people can purchase on Amazon. And so those would be the tips for sure. And yeah, I encourage everyone to follow their dream and to do something in life, make their career something you love and something you're passionate over, because then it never seems like a job, and it never seems like work. And when you do something you love and when you're passionate about something, you will succeed no matter what, because you're excited about it and your passion goes into it, and you will be successful because you're pouring everything you have into it, and it doesn't seem like, oh God, I hate this job, I hate this place, this sucks. That comes out in your work, right? But when you love something and you're passionate about something, that comes out as well too. So yeah, I would recommend anyone, if they're interested in the game, whatever career they want to. If you're interested in fashion design, then do fashion design. So always do something you love, and that's for me. I've been lucky enough, or fortunate enough, and a lot of hard work has gone into it. But to be able to do something I love is really, really, the key to life. I think key to success in career wise.
Wise words. Thank you very much. I think I'm even over time. I think.
Okay.
So I'm sorry for stealing your time a little bit too much, because I think we only had 20 minutes, but I think we used to.
Okay, well, 30 minutes. That's good. Cool.
So thank you very much, and thank you so much for the information. And I hope you will love Vienna and come back soon.
Absolutely, and yeah, and I hope everyone please just go to videogameslive.com and our tour dates page. We're going, a bunch of different places in Europe, and yeah, and also join us on Facebook too, because on Facebook that's how I create events pages for every show, and the way I come up with the set list is I ask people on Facebook, what do you want here? So we have a Video Games Live Vienna page right now, and a Dublin page, and all the places we're going, Germany and Scotland, and we have a page where it says, tell us what you want to hear, and I look at that, and that's how I create the set list, is by what people ask me for. So yeah, so go there and get involved.
We totally will. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
See you soon. Bye.
Okay, bye.